Now, a question I receive frequently from my students is where to focus. What are the topics or the hot topics of the PMP exam? Actually, everything I covered in this course is an important topic, not only for the exam, also for your practical experience or being a project management practitioner. Now, while studying for the exam, you need to give an attention for the project management processes. 50% of the exam questions will be around the project management processes, which we covered in this section. Some of the PMP exam hot topics, starting with dealing with changes in a predictive environment, not in an agile environment. In an agile environment, we will be flexible with changes. In the predictive or a waterfall approach project, you need to be carefully when dealing with change requests. You need to understand what are the steps, and we covered this as part of this course. What are the steps you need to follow when a change request is being submitted? Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4. The majority of the exam questions that will ask you about the change requests will give you a situation, and you need to determine at which step of dealing with change requests are you now and select the next one. So the majority of them will be like, what should the project manager do next? What did the project manager miss to do? And so on. So the questions around dealing with change requests in a predictive environment will be situational questions. Like when I took my PMP exam in 2016, there was like 30 or 35 questions around dealing with changes. But now, because of the agile and hybrid approaches that exist in the exam, you should expect like 5 or 6 questions about dealing with changes in a predictive environment. The second hot topic is the risk response strategies, and we covered this topic in 2 sections in the risk management knowledge area at the first part of the course, and we covered it as well as part of the uncertainty performance domain as per the project management body of knowledge edition 7. We have 5 response strategies to deal with threats. We also have 5 response strategies to deal with opportunities. It's not enough just to memorize the 5 strategies. It's important to understand what is or what are the steps we need to do when selecting the mitigation risk response strategy or the avoidance or the transfer. In the exam, you will be given a situation and the question will ask you which risk response strategy is most suitable for this situation. So you need to understand the 5 risk response strategies for threat and the 5 risk response strategies for opportunities. Understand them very well in order to be able to answer questions related to this topic in the exam. A very important topic is the Agile principles. As per the Agile manifesto, there are 12 principles and 4 Agile values. There will be no question in the exam asking you about the Agile principles directly, but there are a lot of exam questions that cannot be answered without understanding or adapting the Agile mindset. So whenever a situational question in the PMP exam appears regarding the Agile development approach and how it can be applied in projects, just keep in mind the 12 Agile principles to select the right answer. In the PMP exam, there will be like 6 to 8 questions testing your understanding of these principles and values and their application in real-life scenarios. Another important topic is the Scrum framework, and we covered the Scrum in a separate section. Scrum is a framework that is well known for its governance with the roles, its governance with the artifacts, practices, and events. For the PMP exam, you should be aware of the Scrum roles, the Scrum events, and the Scrum artifacts. Expect like 4 to 6 questions about these topics in the Scrum framework in the PMP exam. Agile roles is another important topic. In Scrum or Agile, we have 3 roles: the product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team members. What are the roles and responsibilities of each role of those 3 roles? How they interact with each other? You should be able to answer such questions in the PMP exam. You might be given a situation where there is a user story that is not clear in the product backlog, and the question will ask you, what should you do as the project manager? The right option should be having a discussion with the product owner, because you need to be aware of that the product owner is the role responsible for all the user stories and the product backlog. Another important topic is the release and iteration planning. We explained earlier how planning is being conducted in Agile environment. It's conducted on a very high level when developing the product roadmap, and then we will plan before each release, and then we will plan before each iteration. What are the tools and techniques used in release planning and iteration planning, and who are the roles responsible for these planning activities? All this information should be understood for the PMP exam. Agile methods, tools, and techniques are very important also for the exam. You should expect not less than 10 to 12 questions about the commonly used Agile tools and techniques. You will have at least one question in the PMP exam around each of those Agile techniques. The MOSCO, the one used for prioritizing the user stories, 5 whys and control charts for problem resolution, Agile chartering, expect 1 or 2 questions, the cycle time, the work in progress, variance analysis, trend analysis, and risk-adjusted backlog. Also, there are other Agile tools and techniques, but you should expect at least a question about each of those tools and techniques. Question number 8, in order to guarantee like 2 to 3 questions about this topic or this model in the exam, understand the Tuckman ladder model, which is the tool for understanding the 5 stages of a project team development. What is forming, what's storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. What are the behaviors of the team at each of these 5 stages, and how the project manager should deal with the team. 2 to 3 questions at the minimum in the PMP exam about the 5 stages of the Tuckman ladder. The self-organizing and self-management team concept of the Agile development approach. This is a very important concept, and you should expect few scenario-based questions in the PMP exam that their answer will rely on this concept. Keep in mind that the Agile team is a self-management, self-organized team, not like the predictive teams. So you will have some situational based questions, and the right answer should be that the team should evaluate themselves, the team should assist, the team should have a discussion and take the right action, not the project manager is directing the team. Those self-organized, self-managed, and cross-functional Agile teams all are important concepts for the PMP exam. Topic number 10, the user story and story points. A story point is a metric used in Agile project management and development to estimate the difficulty of implementing a given user story, which is an abstract measure of effort required to implement it. In simple terms, a story point is a number that tells the team about the difficulty level of the story. And for the PMP exam, expect 1 or 2 questions about user stories, and you should expect at least 2 to 3 questions about the story points and the velocity concept, how to determine the velocity of the Agile team. Conflict management is an important topic of the people performance domain. As per the project management body of knowledge, there are 5 conflict resolution techniques which you need to understand: withdrawing, smoothing, compromising, forcing, and collaborating. And you should expect 2 to 3 questions in the PMP exam about this topic. Topic number 12 is around the stakeholder engagement, how to deal with stakeholders, how to identify the stakeholders, build the stakeholder register, analyze the stakeholders, categorize them as per their power and interest. Tools like the onion diagram or the salience model or the power interest grid all are important for the PMP exam. You should expect at least 5 to 7 questions about this knowledge area. And the last key topic or hot topic are the interpersonal and team skills. They are the behaviors and tactics that a person uses to interact with stakeholders in a project effectively. Interpersonal and team skills like active listening, conflict management, leadership, networking, and political awareness are all important for the PMP exam. There are 42% of the exam questions will be around the people. So concepts like the conflict management or the interpersonal and team skills, the Tuckman ladder, the motivational theories, all are important for the PMP exam. And you should expect like 3 to 5 questions about the interpersonal and team skills out of the 180 questions of the PMP exam. So these 13 topics are very important for the exam, and you should expect the majority of the questions around these 13 topics.